Sometimes the universe doesn't send you a sign. It sends you a person. And if you're too tired, too guarded, too worn down by the weight of doing everything alone, you might almost miss the most important moment of your life sitting right next to you on a cold metal chair. Maya Delgado had not slept properly in 11 months. Not since David left. Not since the divorce papers arrived in a manila envelope that smelled faintly of paper and permanence. Not since her 7-year-old daughter, Lily, stopped asking when Daddy was coming home and started quietly drawing pictures of just the two of them instead. Maya carried that grief like a stone sewn into the lining of her coat. She wore it everywhere. To work. To the grocery store. To the Wednesday night community dinners at St. Catherine's Church, where volunteers served soup and bread and pretended they weren't also serving hope. It was a Tuesday when everything changed. Maya had signed up for the church's annual charity fundraiser, a small gala held in the fellowship hall. She was working the registration table, checking names off a clipboard with a pen that kept running out of ink, when her coworker, Linda, nudged her with a sharp elbow. "Table 7, Linda whispered, her eyes gleaming with the particular mischief that Maya had learned to fear. "I put you next to someone. Linda. Just hear me out. He's a single dad. Quiet type. Handsome, in that sad, brooding way that makes you want to bring him casseroles. I figured. You figured you'd play matchmaker at a charity dinner. I figured you deserved one night where someone pulls out your chair for you." Linda shrugged, entirely unashamed. "It's a joke, Maya. Just sit next to him. Make some small talk. Eat your chicken. If it's terrible, you can blame me forever." Maya wanted to say no. Every instinct she had said no. But Lily was at her grandmother's for the night, and the alternative was going home to an empty apartment and a bottle of wine in the same hollow quiet that had become her nightly companion. So she tucked the clipboard under her arm, grabbed her glass of water, and walked toward table 7. He was already seated when she arrived. Tall, even sitting down. Dark hair that curled slightly at the temples, like it had given up on being neat. He wore a navy blazer over a simple white shirt, no tie, and his hands were wrapped around a glass of water he hadn't touched. His eyes were brown and tired in a way that Maya recognized instantly, the way you recognize your own reflection in someone else. "I'm Maya," she said, pulling out her own chair because no one else was going to. "Eli," he said. His voice was quieter than she expected. "And fair warning, I'm not great at these things." "Neither am I," she said. "My coworker basically forced me here." Something close to a smile crossed his face. "Mine too. My sister. She said if I didn't come, she'd tell my daughter that Santa wasn't real." Maya laughed. An actual laugh, the kind that surprised her, the kind that felt like a door opening somewhere inside her chest that she thought had been painted shut. They talked the way two people talk when they've both forgotten how. Slowly at first, testing the water. Eli told her he had a 6-year-old son named Marcus who refused to eat anything that wasn't orange. Carrots, cheddar cheese, sweet potatoes, and, inexplicably, orange popsicles counted as a vegetable in his household. Maya told him about Lily and her drawings and how she had recently informed Maya, with complete seriousness, that she planned to be a marine biologist who also drove a fire truck. "Both," Eli said, nodding. "Absolutely both. Never let anyone tell her she has to choose." And Maya felt something shift. Not the dramatic, electric, movie magic kind of shift. Something quieter. Something that felt like being seen. The dinner passed in a blur of conversation and laughter and the kind of ease that shouldn't have been possible between two strangers. When the event wound down and the chairs began to empty, neither of them moved to leave. It was Linda who finally appeared at the edge of the table, arms crossed, looking entirely too pleased with herself. "Well?" she asked. Maya glanced at Eli, who was smiling now, genuinely smiling, and she felt a warmth in her chest that she had almost forgotten was possible. "Thank you," Maya said quietly. And she meant it for more than just the dinner. They exchanged numbers. They texted. They talked on the phone for an hour one night after the kids were asleep. Voices low, words careful, the way you speak when you're afraid that saying too much might break something fragile and new. It was 3 weeks later, on a Sunday morning, when Maya's world tilted sideways in the best way possible. She was scrolling through her phone while Lily ate cereal, and a news story caught her eye. A local piece, the kind she normally skipped. The headline read, Anonymous donor funds full scholarships for 47 single-parent families in the district. She almost scrolled past it. But something made her stop. Something about the photograph attached to the article, a partial image, a man standing at the back of a press conference, deliberately turned away from the cameras. His posture, the way his shoulders sat, the slight curl of dark hair at his temple. Maya's heart stopped. She called Linda first. Then she called the church. Then she called Eli. He answered on the second ring, calm and unhurried, the way he always was. Maya, Eli, the scholarships, the anonymous donor. That's you. A long pause. She could hear him breathing, could almost hear him deciding how much to say. I didn't want it to be about me, he said finally. It never was. My wife, before she passed, she made me promise. She said the money didn't matter. She said what mattered was what you did with it when no one was watching. Maya pressed her hand over her mouth. The tears came fast and quiet, the kind that don't ask permission. 47 families, Eli. 47 families, he repeated, and his voice cracked, just barely, on the number. Including yours, if you'll let me. She sat there for a long time after they hung up, staring at the kitchen table, at Lily's cereal bowl, at the morning light coming in through the window and pooling on the floor like something golden and alive. She thought about Linda and her terrible, beautiful meddling. She thought about a cold metal chair and a man with tired eyes and a glass of water he never touched. She thought about how the world had handed her a joke, a silly, well-meaning setup at a charity dinner, and wrapped inside it was something she never could have predicted. Not romance. Not a fairy tale. Something richer than that. A reminder that kindness still existed in the quiet spaces. That someone out there was still doing the hard, invisible, selfless work of holding other people up, not for praise, not for recognition, but because someone they loved once told them that was what mattered. Maya picked up her phone and texted Eli 2 words. Thank you. His reply came back almost immediately, and it was the simplest thing in the world, but it broke her open in the best way. Always. Lily looked up from her cereal, milk dripping from her spoon, and said, Mom, are you crying? Maya wiped her eyes and smiled. Yeah, baby. But it's the good kind. Lily considered this for a moment, with the gravity that only a 7-year-old can bring to the smallest questions. Okay, she said. That's allowed. And maybe that was the truest thing anyone had ever said to her. That the good kind was allowed. That after all the quiet and the grief and the long nights, the universe could still surprise you. Not with thunder. Not with fireworks. But with a single, quiet act of kindness from a man nobody asked to be a hero, who simply refused to stop being one.